Let's talk Blue Jasmine, Bob. A life crisis causes a woman to head to San Francisco, where she reconnects with her sister. Is the synopsis really all that relevant in a Woody Allen movie?
Barely. Like,
But yeah, written and directed by Woody Allen, starring Kate Blanchett, Alex Baldwin, Sally Hawkins, and plenty of fun smaller roles. Bob, do you have a mini review for us?
yeah, let me tell you what I thought. Let's pull it up here. So I gave Blue Jasmine a 4 out of 5, and
Hmm.
this is what I say about it. Kate Blanchett and the ensemble cast really bring to life this Woody Allen life crisis, in quotes, life crisis dramedy. I enjoyed the story, characters, and economic disparity theme, mixed feelings on the ending, and a couple of forced plot drivers. So there you have it. I'm hedging a little. I really liked it a lot actually, but a couple of annoying points. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5.
Right on. Here's my mini review. Uh, every character and scene crackles with neurotic energy, giving us plenty of great moments. I was initially impressed by the constant anxiety it provoked, but ultimately didn't get enough payoff to make that anxiety completely worth it. 3 out of 5.
Wow. Wow, you dipped down into the lower spectrum of the I'm okay but still have issues with this movie.
Well, yeah, some movies, Bob, you sense they're trying to tell you something, but you don't completely get it. It just doesn't land for you, no matter how much you can really appreciate the well-executed components. Blue Jasmine was totally that way for me.
Really? Okay, so let's talk about it. So tell me what didn't fit together, or what was it about the anxiety-inducing features that rubbed you the wrong way?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that stood out for me from what I've said already, because I really noticed that more than anything, just Kate Blanchett's Jasmine, her anxiety, it just was contagious. It came right through the screen, and all I wanted to do was take a Xanax myself the whole time.
Along with her.
Yeah, right. Hey, give me one of those, Jasmine. For example, a great scene right towards the beginning. She's at her sister Ginger's house. She's come to live there because she used to be fabulously wealthy with her husband Hal, played by Alec Baldwin, but it's all gone now, all of it. And so here she is in Ginger's place explaining how absolutely destitute she is. She's got nothing. She's popping pills, drinking Stoli, and she lets slip that she flew first class. This broke woman, she flies first class, and Ginger's like, "Excuse me? You flew first class? I thought you were broke." And Jasmine, completely unaware of the irony, she's like, "Of course I did." And that scene just sets up the tone of the movie very terrifically.
But that's exactly what I love about it. I don't see a negative there. Actually, I loved whenever the movie showed Jasmine in full force not knowing how to deal with her economic situation. Like, even in that same scene, she has to tip her cab driver who um, has to wait around for her sister to come home, and she obviously gives him a huge tip because he's like, "Oh, thank you." So she
Yeah, that's
has like,
right.
so, yeah, she has like some lingering leftovers from her past life that she's burning through really fast, and she doesn't even realize it. And then later in the movie, you see another scene where she's talking with her sister's kids, which is actually a hilarious scene because she's treating them like adults, and she brings up the whole like, now you need to tip good in life. You have to really, yeah, tip well in life because you never know how that's going to come back to you. Or she had some like burning advice to share with them, which made no sense in her current situation. Um, I
Yeah,
just love that kind of stuff.
yeah. Well, I loved that scene because it tells us so much about the characters and their relationship to each other. And I like it. I'm impressed when a movie can make me feel something so much. Like this made me feel anxiety. Um, it's just that as it went on, I kept feeling the anxiety, but then I felt like I didn't get as much of a payoff in terms of story or resolution or what's the point here as I would like.
Now, for me, that has more to do with the ending than the play-by-play, because I thought the play-by-play was the payoff was just to show how different people in different levels of society interacting with each other, even if they're forced to change, they really can't change. And I don't mean to like review the movie so on the nose here. Like there's some subtleties to how these characters are portrayed, but it's basically white collar versus blue collar, and watching the hilarity that ensues when the two have to interact in a way that otherwise doesn't usually happen in life. The really rich stay away from from the barely making it generally. But in this case, when it's family and when one of them has a bit of a breakdown or at least loses all their money, I thought it was played out pretty realistically. And I feel like we all have a little bit of this in life. Of course, on the screen it's a little exaggerated, but just to see it played out in full force, that dynamic of those two extremes, blue collar versus white collar, I don't know. It really worked for me. Anxiety-inducing tendencies aside, I guess.
Yeah, well, I feel like you're really trying to sell me on this movie, and I just want to say that I'm not trying to come across as too antagonistic. I'm coming from maybe liked parts of it and other parts I didn't quite get. The anxiety is sort of a mixed bag for me. Like I said, I'm impressed with it. I'm not criticizing it for that necessarily, but that was the most prominent feature for me. All the anxiety it posted it invoked in me. But I think you're right on with what you say about the differences in class here. I also think apparently there were tons of references to Streetcar Named Desire, which I have to admit sheepishly never having seen. And I
Yeah,
wonder if that would have helped make it click more for me.
I wonder. I didn't realize that either, actually. And I might have seen that movie or at least part of it, like for a film class or something. But honestly, sometimes the great ones, I have to pretend like, oh, right, Citizen Kane, this is amazing. Okay.
Right, let's talk about something else quick.
Exactly.
We do have to talk about, Cate Blanchett and Alec Baldwin. Both were wonderful in their roles, I thought.
Absolutely.
Because Jasmine really was kind of a bitch, but instead of hating her, we mostly felt sorry for her and sympathized with her, I thought.
Yeah, because for being a bitch, she was put into situations like with her dentist, well, her employer. So I should set the context. She first on her list of things to do when after losing all her money and spending it on first class plane tickets to go live with her sister is try to find a job, and she ends up through her sister's boyfriend getting hooked up with a potential opportunity as like a office admin at a dentist's office. But then the dentist has some issues and sort of comes on to her, and without giving up too much of it, you just feel bad for her because she gets a break, and in her new blue collar life, things are starting to work out, but then they don't work out. But then it's a lot her fault.
Yes.
But somehow you feel bad for her because you empathize with the moments that are less about her fault, and the ones that are her fault feel like they're not as big a deal by comparison for some reason.
Yeah, and walking that line, I think, is squarely, the credit goes to Cate Blanchett. I think she's terrific in the way she pulls that off.
Yeah, I agree. And even Alec Baldwin for being... Now, we only see Alec Baldwin in flashbacks, which is kind of... I just have to give my disclaimer here. Normally I hate flashbacks, but actually I thought this movie handled the flashback really, really well. So it was kind of telling two concurrent stories.
Yeah, two parallel stories like that. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, me too. And Alec Baldwin was only in the past one, and he was the husband who had all the money, and we sort of see the decline. But mostly it's shown to show the positive side. We don't get too much of the decline till closer to the end in that story. But he did a really good job of being a really rich guy that you can't just hate automatically. He seemed like a pretty normal guy for being rich, right?
Rich equals hate automatically, almost, or danger of that.
Well, in the movie anyway, when they're making a point about the 1% or whatever. But yeah.
Well, I was impressed that I wasn't thinking about Jack Donaghy the whole time, and it's not that I don't think Alec Baldwin can't play a different role, but the characters are sort of vaguely similar. But he managed to tease out a lot of distinction, and it was just a different guy.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. He was very Alec Baldwin-y, but different enough that I didn't have that issue of confusing him with his 30 Rock role.
Right. And there were a lot of fun small roles. Andrew Dice Clay was great, Ginger's ex-husband, who pops in from time to time to remind us that Hal really messed up his life and a lot of other people's lives.
Yes. Now, we'll come back to him because there's one scene with him that bugged me, but yes,
I want to hear it now.
Okay, so this has less to do with him as an actor and more to do with Woody Allen's writing. So this is going to be my annoyed segment, I guess, of why I dinged the movie a bit. But Woody Allen has a couple of lazy moments where characters come on screen to kind of move the plot along, and there's one involving Andrew Dice Clay's character where he just randomly out of the blue bumps into Jasmine in the street, and without getting into the details, um, he ends up ruining the moment for her and saying a lot more than he should, and it was just so coincidental and a little over the top for me. It didn't come across as believable. And there's just, since I'm on this theme, I just have to point out one other scene where um, you see how characters were doing things behind each other's back as kind of comes to life. Uh, and it's again like this is on location in New York City, and there's another coincidence like, oh, in the city, the two of us just happen to see each other randomly, you
Sure.
know. And Woody Allen has done this in other movies, and maybe it's forgivable, and I'm spending way too much time on it. But it bugs me when there are better ways for people to interact with each other or to find out about their secrets than just like a random "I see you across the street" sort of thing, because that feels very lazy to me.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. The thing about Woody Allen that that I noticed in not a good way was at times and this probably happens in all Woody Allen movies, but I just kept imagining, oh, that's something Woody Allen would say. So I just like all these characters, little Woody Allens talking to each other and having fights with each other or conversations. Just everyone seemed like Woody Allen at some point to me.
Yeah, there's a bit of that too.
Another fun small role, Louis C.K., a regular dude that Ginger has a fling with. Um,
Yeah, I dig Louis C.K. Actually, I think he's perfect for these types of small roles. I wish he were in more movies like this because he brings some color to the film in a way that only he can. I love it.
Yeah, and now Louis C.K. isn't necessarily the broadest, rangiest actor out there, but he's cultivated this one kind of guy, and he does a really great job with that. And he was that same
Exactly.
kind of guy, and it was perfect here.
Agreed.
Bobby Cannavale, Ginger's current man. You know, I didn't realize just how many of Ginger's lovers we have in this movie, but but Cannavale is her current neurotic but somehow also sweet man, and all those guys just bring a lot of flavor to the movie, which helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah, charming performance by Bobby Cannavale. I really like him from a lot of other movies. Like The Station Agent is one of my favorite movies where I first saw him.
Oh yeah.
And he does a good job as the like grease monkey, blue collar, you know, beer drinking, fight watching, simpleton but charming guy that's kind of a caricature of blue collar malehood, or I don't know what to call it, but I
Yeah,
like the
but
way he plays it.
not too dangerous. He never seemed like he was really gonna put anyone in danger or do anything really destructive. All bark and no bite, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the most he does is like knock over a lamp when he's pissed, which is funny.
But yeah, Bob, I just had a hard time really grasping the through line, the journey Jasmine did or didn't go through, the moral, anything like that. Maybe it's just me, and you know the anxiety that came right out of Blanchett's Jasmine started to get uncomfortable to me after a while. You know, I'm impressed with the ability of the movie to do that. I just want to say that one more time, but to tell the truth, I don't know, I was left a little wanting by the end.
Okay, well, we don't have to dissect it too much, even though I actually loved the moral of the story or whatever you want to call it. I thought it was fascinating. My issue had more to do with the quirky, well, with the lazy writing in a couple scenes, which I already talked about, and then the ending without, you know, this is spoiler free, but it doesn't. Let's just say you don't get much closure. This is kind of a slice of life movie, and it's picking its slice of life very deliberately. Um, so you see the sort of the high times and the low times, but then in the end, I think it's the ending that sort of leaves you wanting, not knowing where you were supposed to go with this and what you were supposed to take from it, other than just like, oh, that was an interesting slice of life. But the actual journey, I really, really enjoyed, and so that's why um, I think I liked it a bit more than you.
Yeah, I guess so. I liked it 3 out of 5. You liked it 4 out of 5. I think if you like Woody Allen movies, usually you'll probably like this one. Yeah, that's about it for
Or
me.
yeah, or any of those actors, they all do great jobs doing their quirky performances. So if you like two or three out of these actors we just listed, that's probably good enough reason. But if you're apprehensive about seeing anxiety on screen, among other things, yeah, who knows? This is kind of a mixed bag from us, I guess.
Yeah, and there we go. I guess Blue Jasmine.
Go see it.